What if one of the most powerful organizations in history never actually disappeared? In 1307, the Knights Templar were hunted down, arrested, and erased. Or at least, that's what we're told. Because centuries later, their symbols start showing up again, in places they shouldn't be. Some believe they didn't vanish, they evolved. And if that's true, who are they now? It all starts in the year 1307, a turning point in history. Some say it marked the end of the Knights Templar, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something else. Now, a lot of people roll their eyes when they hear Illuminati. Sounds like conspiracy territory, right? But before we go there, we need some context. Back in the 12th century, a group of warrior monks made a promise: protect Christian pilgrims traveling from Europe to Jerusalem. These were the Knights Templar, and they weren't just warriors, they were innovators. The Templars created what you could call one of the first international banking systems. A nobleman in Europe could deposit money with the Templars and withdraw it in Jerusalem using a letter of credit. No need to carry gold across dangerous roads. Smart and extremely profitable. Before long, the Knights Templar weren't just a religious order, they were a financial powerhouse. They had more wealth than kings, more soldiers than nations, and property stretching from Europe to the Middle East. That kind of power makes enemies. By 1307, King Philip IV of France owed the Templars a massive debt, and instead of paying it, he chose a different solution: eliminate them. The Templars were accused of heresy, including worshipping strange figures like Baphomet. Their leaders were arrested, tortured, and in some cases executed. Their assets were seized. Officially, the order was gone. But history isn't always that simple. The Templars didn't disappear, they scattered. Smaller groups spread across Europe. In Scotland, they found protection under Robert the Bruce, who had already been excommunicated and had no reason to follow the Church's orders. There are even stories that these former Templars helped the Scots in battle and then blended into society. But they didn't abandon their traditions. They just went underground, under a new identity. Fast forward to the construction of Rosslyn Chapel in the 1400s, a massive project requiring skilled stone workers. And who were the experts in stonework? The Masons. Now here's where things get interesting. Rosslyn Chapel is filled with symbols, crosses, geometric shapes, mysterious carvings. Some resemble known Templar imagery. Others align with what we now associate with Freemasonry. The chapel was commissioned by Sir William Sinclair, a man whose family later became deeply connected to the Freemasons. And on his tomb, an inscription identifying him as a Knight Templar. Coincidence? Or a clue that the Templars didn't vanish, they evolved? Many believe this is where the transition happened, that the Templars rebranded, reorganized, and eventually became what we know as the Freemasons. Now jump ahead to the 1700s. Europe was changing. This was the Age of Enlightenment, a time focused on reason, science, and challenging authority. Enter Adam Weishaupt, a law professor in Bavaria who wasn't exactly a fan of the church or the monarchy controlling everything. So in 1776, he created a secret society. He called it the Illuminati. The idea? Influence powerful institutions from the inside, spread Enlightenment ideals quietly, reshape society without people even realizing it. And he needed recruits. So where do you find influential, well-connected individuals already used to secrecy? The Freemasons. Weishaupt joined them and started recruiting from within. The Illuminati grew quickly, attracting intellectuals, politicians, and even members of the elite. But here's the problem with secret societies. Secrets don't stay secret forever. By 1785, the Bavarian government caught wind of the group. Documents were discovered outlining their goals, including dismantling religious and political power structures. The Illuminati was banned. Members were arrested or exiled. Weishaupt himself spent the rest of his life in exile. End of story? Not quite. Over the years, rumors kept popping up. Some claim the Illuminati were behind major events like the French Revolution. Even George Washington acknowledged concerns about their influence, although he doubted the Freemasons were involved. Fast forward again into the modern era. Now, the Illuminati aren't just a historical footnote. They're linked, at least in theory, to elite organizations and global institutions. Groups that claim they're not connected, but seem to share similar ideas about global cooperation, centralized power, and reshaping society. And that's where things get controversial. Because whether you believe in the Illuminati or not, there's no denying one thing. Influence matters. Celebrities, politicians, public figures, they shape culture. They shape opinions. And sometimes they send signals. You've probably seen it before. Hand gestures, symbols, poses that seem oddly specific. Some people believe these are just trends, things that look cool in photos. Others think there's something more, a kind of silent language, a way to signal loyalty, status, or membership in something bigger. There's the triangle gesture, the one I pose, the horns hand sign, the OK symbol. To some, it's harmless. To others, it's coded communication tied to power structures most people never see. And then there's the darker interpretation, the idea that fame and success come at a price. Stories going back centuries talk about deals for power, wealth, or talent in exchange for something much more valuable. The soul. Sounds dramatic, right? But these stories persist because they tap into something real, the idea that power always has a cost. So where does that leave us? Are secret societies pulling the strings behind the scenes? Or are we just connecting dots that were never meant to be connected? Take the US dollar bill, for example. The pyramid, the all-seeing eye. These symbols have documented meanings tied to the founding of the country. But because some of the founding fathers were Freemasons, many believe there could be more to the story. And those celebrity gestures? There's no solid proof they mean anything beyond aesthetics or marketing. The truth is probably less dramatic, but still interesting. Groups like the Knights Templar and the Freemasons are real. They've existed for centuries. They use symbols. They have rituals. And yes, they keep secrets. But there's no clear, proven line connecting them to a modern, all-powerful Illuminati controlling the world. That doesn't mean power structures don't exist. They do. Just maybe not in the way we imagine. Because sometimes the real story isn't about hidden symbols or secret handshakes. It's about influence, control, and how ideas spread right in front of us. And that might be even more powerful than any conspiracy. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. I'll see you next time. Peace.